Hello.
Spencer, what's up?
What up, Gotti?
My fellow Patriots fan.
You know it.
That was a long, the Eagles got us. First of all, 2 touchdowns should have counted. But it was a long year. It was a long wait to get that Super Bowl back. And we finally did it.
Yep, now we're going for 7.
Is that where we are now? Is number 6?
That was number 6. He matched Jordan.
Yeah. It's only taken him twice as long, but still.
You know what was funny? At the A-Main Hobbies Manufacturers Cup, there was this gentleman sitting next to me, and there were so many other pit spots that was open. He was a local there, and he had to pick the smallest spot next to me because I had like my full table. And I just happened to come out of the blue. Who's your favorite, quarterback? Because we're talking. Oh, he's like, Joe Montana. He's like the best ever.
There you go.
I asked him, I'm like, have you heard of this guy? He's kind of new. His name is Tom Brady. He's like, yeah, I hate that guy. What a schmuck.
Yeah,
schmoha.
And I was like, yeah, I think he has a few Super Bowl rings. And the guy's like, yeah, I don't even know how many rings he has, but I'm not a big fan of him.
The tree with the best apples has the most stones thrown at it.
Is that like an actual saying?
Yeah, that's what Ernie used to always say. He used to say,
really?
Yeah, he used to say that because everybody hated Trinity back then.
Okay.
And he would say, well, the tree with the best apples gets the most stones thrown at it.
Well, I mean, I'm sure that's probably pretty accurate.
People hate.
I mean, you can't, at this point, I mean, you really just can't deny, the kind of success they've had. I mean, the guy I was sitting next to at the Horizon HCP convention said he's going to, because he was the guy that had the hobby store there in Foxborough. And he said that he thinks Brady's playing until 45. He says he thinks that's the number.
I would probably agree with him. I think, hypothetically speaking, if they did win another Super Bowl back-to-back years, this next next season, I don't see him retiring at all.
So when's the last time they went back-to-back?
Won back-to-back or went back-to-back?
Yeah, was it because so far the last 2 have been, there's been a space in between, right?
Well, they went back-to-back these past 2 years. I would give you the years, but unfortunately I can't. Roman numerals, I have a hard time reading that.
Man, I hate those Roman numerals. They were going to do away with them, and I have no idea what happened. Like, they just kept using them now. I'm like, I think Super Bowl 50, they were talking about just making it 50. And they never did. They just keep these damn Roman numerals, and I have no idea which one we're on until an announcer says which one. And it's like crazy, man.
Well, I is 1, V is 5, X is 10. And if the I is before, if I is in front of the V, it's 4. It subtracts 1.
So, Jason, they went back to back in 2004 and 2005. So, like I said, they played against Carolina in 2004. It was 38-32 Patriots. And then in 2005, they played Philadelphia, and the score was 39-24.
Okay.
Or, sorry, 24-21 Patriots.
So we want to get into some RC stuff? Or?
Jason wants the switch.
Well, we're always down for ours.
Tell us about your huge swing of events, Spencer. You, I'm trying to remember the last time I saw you, which race we were at. Doesn't seem like that long ago.
Well, I just like the past few events that I've been to this last month.
Yeah. So, what was before the World's warm up? Silver State. That's where
Silver
I saw
State.
it. That's where I saw it. So let's start with the World's warm up. How? What'd you think of that whole experience? And because people are curious that listen, what's going to happen at the Worlds and all that.
Yeah, obviously, Dustin and I went to the World's warm-up in Slovakia. We flew into Austria, and the experience traveling was pretty easy. It was no problems at all with any kind of traveling, but once we got to the actual Huddy Arena and you're driving up to the facility, and you're kind of looking around, you're like, are you sure we're at the right place? Because, like, looking at the building and the cosmetic look of the building, you're like, there's no way this is like an RC track. Because it's so nice looking. But the event actually was ran pretty well. I wasn't a big fan at all of the dirt or how sneaky it seemed like that the X-ray guys were being. Just after races, it's like you do a qualifier or do a practice run, and then you have, like, if the X-ray guys didn't do good or something, they would go into the Martin Bayer's, like, office, all of them, and then they would come out, and then the next round they would go TQ by like 10 seconds. Like, it was pretty outrageous. The dirt's very loose. It's polished. It's like, if I had to say what it's like in the States, it's like if you were to rent a warehouse, an empty warehouse, and you were to go run on it with, the Proline whole shots M3 compound. It's the most outrageous combination ever. I mean, I can't explain how disappointed Dustin was of the tire choice that they picked, because we kind of thought that the bar tire, like if they were to chosen another Proline tire, the Electron or the Positron or something in that frame of tire.
Okay.
Yeah, the event obviously was not bad at all. I think it's going to be one of the best Worlds I'll probably ever see and experience, and in forms to, like, facility wise. But the dirt just kind of sucks. It's not fun to drive on. It's in racing, if you barely tap someone, just a bumper tap, like you kind of would in a race, if you accidentally slid into someone, you can kind of save it. Here, you tap someone or blow on someone, you're looping out.
Mm-hmm.
It's the most frustrating thing a racer can ever experience. It just, you're out there driving, you're like, all right, my car's all right to drive. And then as soon as you have to race with someone and they just tap you barely, you're seriously out to lunch.
You just do hyper donuts.
I mean, I'm looking forward to going back there and putting in the work here in the States and figuring out what we have to do as a team with Team Associated to win over there. And it's going to be a big challenge, but I think a lot of us have overcome a lot of challenges, and it'll be one of the races to definitely win. But like I said, I think that once the World comes around, I think tech might get more involved, like it usually is. So maybe if the X-ray guys were doing something a little fishy, then it'll be a little bit more, overwatched by the refs and all that stuff. So I think it's going to be a good race. I just hope it's not a race that someone's doing something they shouldn't be doing.
Mm-hmm.
Because those guys over there have been known to be doing the most when it comes to if they get some sort of advantage.
Right.
So, yeah, I think it's going to have to sit down and wait. I mean, I'm looking forward to going back there and race, but I hope there's no advantages going to their side if they can get practice when the doors are closed or they put the layout in 2 weeks before the Worlds. I mean, that's stuff that you're not really in control of.
There's just not a lot of information, right?
It's very down low of what the deal is. Like I said, the event's going to be ran one of the best. It's just the structure of the dirt that they have, the amount of. I mean, you're talking about a place in the whole world where there's only probably one track that's just like this, and it's literally in their backyard for them to run on the exact surface. And they're definitely one of the most sneakiest companies in the business. I mean, there's no doubt about that.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, when we went to Japan, there's a lot of talk about maybe them running on the track or whatever. But I think Yokomo had some dignity and of their history, and they obviously wouldn't have done that. But I think that might be something that X-Ray potentially could do, potentially would do.
The only thing you really could do, I suppose, is you could build the track, run on it, destroy it, and build it back the exact same way. That's really the only thing I think that you could do to get practice on the same type of track.
Yeah, I mean, one of the biggest thing is I'm not really more concerned about the layout. It's just learning a whole new conventional driving style on that surface. It's something that I've never ever experienced ever. Obviously, I haven't been in the industry as long as the other veterans that have been around, but even when Ryan and Jared would run on those kind of surfaces, it was with a completely different car, rear motor, that matter. So we're running a car that definitely not supposed to be driven on that low of traction, or let alone that tire of choice. I mean, come on, we're running on a whole shot that we haven't ran since like a tire like that since like the Finland World, like when you guys ran the double Ds. Like, come on.
Yeah.
All these car manufacturers, Team Associated, Losi, Yokomo, whatever it may be, have designed race cars because there have been past worlds or big races on super high bite or artificial surfaces. And now that we have these special cars for those specific surfaces, we're going to go run on the loosest track in the world on the most unconventional tire ever.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's pretty.
Well, the timing is
poor.
The timing is poor because unless we were going to start going the other direction with the cars and catering to lower grip tracks and going the other direction, sure, it would be a great choice. But we've just recently built everything around the lower traction. So, like you're saying that, we're kind of going in bass backwards here.
Yeah, and I mean, the people that are going in the world are obviously the best in the world, and there's going to be a good show, no doubt about that. But for whoever does these tracks or chooses the tracks, it just doesn't make sense for the industry of just knowing what's going on in the cars that we have to make it a little bit more enjoyable. I mean, I'm not complaining by any stretch. I think it's going to be, the way I'm looking at it is, how good of a story would it be if you go into X-Ray's facility and you kick their butt? I mean, that would be one of the best stories in the world, to me at least.
Mm-hmm.
So, I mean, there's definitely no negative mindset going in, because I'm just looking at it of how good of a story it could be if you won, or if X-Ray didn't win, you know. So I don't know. I think that driving on that stuff is definitely not impossible, but I think that it's some dirt like no other, and of how the track is made or built is something that we've never seen, because it's a completely different driving style. I mean, you're talking about something that these guys are running on every day now, and up until the Worlds.
Mm-hmm.
So, I mean, you can't drive the way you would normally drive here in the States. I mean, I would say typically all the tracks that I go to, you're driving somewhat similar. It's going to be difficult to take in when, you know, you go to the World's warm up, and all the European guys that would typically race with the X-Ray guys that were there, Martin Bayer and Bruno Coelho, and those guys couldn't even come close to them that they typically race them, and usually are close. And you can just tell that the vibe was just not that great.
So what would you, what would you propose that, where do you think we should race, or what do you think the race should really be like? I mean, you've run enough of the Worlds now. You've run in Japan, you ran in China, and you've been on different surfaces. And what would you propose that would be more ideal for everybody? And what do you think it should be like?
I mean, if I had proposed something, I would at least pick a surface that the cars nowadays suit the cars, whether that's running on an artificial surface or a high bite track that grooves up. I mean, we're running, the World is going to be ran on glass essentially. It's there's no grip by any stretch. I mean, I don't know what facility I would pick or where at. I would just propose to whoever, like, hey, look, all the manufacturers' cars are suited for medium high grip. Let's just pick something that's going to be medium or high grip.
Yeah. Yeah, I see that.
Or, I don't know, I've always thought about if they were going to do a World, and it would be cool to do, I mean, obviously it's something that you really can't do with not enough manpower, but similar to how, when Richard Saxton did the 8th Worlds in Vegas, it was in a parking lot. It wasn't a facility that was normally there. If you were able to do
just for the race,
just build for the race, that would be the most fair. No one's expecting what to be what. It's just, if there's a controlled tire, you just have to run it and call it a day.
I agree,
but it's not.
Yeah, I think there should be no warm up. I think it should be a location and the track that's built just for the event. And maybe there was some other, but yeah, it should be very unique. But there's the ideal way, and then there's the realistic way that can be done. I mean, they moved it to that track because it was easy. They knew they would do a good job. They had plenty of money to run the race, and that it would be probably organized first class, which is what they're concerned about. I think if the conditions for IFMAR is the last of their concerns. They don't care about that at all because they're not racing. So
yeah,
they just want it to be, run right and have a good facility, and
yeah, I mean,
that's all they care about.
That's pretty fair to say on their behalf because they don't want to deal with it. But at the same time, I mean, I don't know. I feel like they should be concerned about what the racers are concerned about, of just making it as fair. And because I mean we go to the world warm up, right? And Dustin was saying this a lot. I mean, I would agree 100%. Yeah, the facility is the best in the whole world. You'll never see anything like it. This is the most insane facility you'll ever see. It is so top notch. It makes freaking banks or dealerships. Like if you anywhere that's super nice of like a facility wise, it beats it. I mean, unbelievable.
Tell us about the way they're cleaning up.
Yeah, like we're cutting, like you're like dremeling stuff in your pit. There's someone there picking up your dust.
What?
Yeah, it's true.
Wow.
If you're cutting pins off your tires, there's someone right there to clean it right up.
Jeez.
So, anyways, back to what I was saying or what Dustin and I were agreeing on. Like, we don't really care how clean or nice the facility is. I'd rather have the shittiest facility or whatever it may be. But if it happens to be the worst track or dirt, then what's the point of being there?
The track is number one. When you go in, for me, everywhere I've ever raced or been, the track is what you remember enjoying about your experience. And if you don't have that, it's just a huge part of the equation.
Yeah, I mean, I'm going to tell you right now. I'm already going to say it. There's going to be the most drama and the most
BS
crap show you'll ever see at this Worlds in September or when we leave. You're going to see it. You're going to see it all. You're going to see it all over Red RC. You're going to see it all over Live RC. And it won't be because of you won't see it because the facility is so nice. It's going to be because of the track.
If you talk to the X-ray guys, do they like it? You can't imagine they like it. I mean, if you guys don't like it, you can't imagine.
Honestly, like the X-ray guys were so quiet, so pity. It seemed like at the warm up that if you talk to them, they would send you home. It was weird. They're honestly, that was
go home.
Me personally speaking, I don't think they should have raced.
Yeah,
they should have waited for the Worlds. I think they kind of thought that they didn't really know what they had for speed, and then when they knew that they smoked everyone, when I mean smoke, they flat out smoked us.
Yeah,
they showed everyone what they needed to do, and I think that might have given us the opportunity to beat them. Because if they did that at the World, like I said, there's no setup. There's no ball stud washers, half mil ball stud washers, camber links, anti-squat, whatever it may be, transmissions you can do to put on your car and go the same speed they're doing. It's not possible. Because we did it. We did everything.
Little known fact. I won the World's warm-up in 2003.
How did that work out for you?
I made the A at the Worlds. I made the A main when the actual Worlds came around, but I didn't win.
Well, at least you made the main.
I guess what I was trying to say was I did win that race, and the track was somewhat unique to most people at the time because it was loose. It was on the loose side. So for me, it was kind of normal because it was one of the tracks I raced at. So I basically I drove around. I easily TQ'd. I drove around and I easily won the main, or it was a multiple mains. And then when everybody came back, they were all prepared, and of course the track had way more grip for the actual race than it did at the warm up. But I still did well, but everybody else, were more prepared, and the conditions changed a little bit. So I guess it's still possible that kind of stuff could happen to this race too. But being indoors, our race was outdoors, so. But being indoors, like you said, I think the conditions. I think the conditions could be similar, right?
Yeah, I mean, I'm not saying at all it's not going to be possible to beat them. I mean, it's just going to be difficult, and I think that there's going to be some temperature differences from when we went to when the Worlds is going to be. Obviously, the World is going to be indoors, but the outside temperature may be a factor.
Yeah, I see what you mean.
But it's one of those things that it's not about. This race is not going to be about having the best setup. It's going to be who's going to be able to adapt to those conditions driving wise, and it's going to be something that none of the people that didn't go haven't seen.
Mm-hmm.
And I mean, I'm going to be trying to change my driving style with whatever we have to do before the Worlds, and just kind of adapting to different kind of conditions wherever I decide to drive my cars for prepping and testing. It's not going to be testing special parts, special this. It's going to be more about testing and developing a different driving style for this one particular race, and trying to drive discipline and smooth.
Okay.
But it's exactly like, I don't know, it's funny I would say it now, but it's like you're watching those Rocky movies and like Rocky's getting ready for like a special fight, like and like he has to go to Russia and fight, so he's doing like all these different old school like workouts and stuff, and running in the snow. It's like that exactly. You're gonna have to fight hard, and you're gonna have to freaking do stuff that's not normal.
All right, so let's see. Next question. Let's talk about coming back and doing the Manufacturers Cup. How was that? We're gonna move on from the warm up.
Well, I had a question about the warm up.
Yeah, I'm all fire.
Okay, go ahead.
Well,
I know what your question is gonna be.
What is it?
Did you take any dirt samples home?
No, not that. No, it's a serious question though, because
okay.
Well, I would have, yeah, but you guys were talking about the layout of the track also. Like, who comes up with the design for the track for the IFMAR Worlds layout? Is it IFMAR or is it the people that own the track?
The host track does.
Oof. Okay. I could see the concerns then. Yeah. I was thinking maybe if IFMAR actually had, like, I don't know how all this stuff works, but if they had an official show up at the track and say, okay, now here's what we want the layout for the Worlds. And they build it, and an official stays there and make sure nobody's getting practice time on it, and then the guys show up for the race. That would be ideal. That's what I would think. But
dude, you don't even understand. They have to build it a certain way with the jumps and the 180s and stuff, because they have to build in a thin layer of concrete up the faces of the jumps and out of 180s because there's no grip. Like when you're on the patches that they provide you on the layout and build on the layout, those are there to help you jump the small little 4-foot double and to help you accelerate on power getting onto the straightaway. Like, that's how ridiculous it is.
Jesus.
It's funny. I mean, we're up there on the driver's stand for our A mains, and Bruno and Martin are standing in the same spot, and you have Orlowski, Lee Martin, Jona Hansen, me, and Dustin up there. We're laughing because we can't get around the track. Like, we're making jokes on the driver's stand at the warm up. Like,
I can't wait till Mayfield gets there.
Oh, dude, you don't even understand what's going to happen when he's there. I can already see, like, Gore Tessman, like, starting some fire, because I wouldn't be surprised if Martin Bayer and Bruno are going faster than Ty.
We will see.
So
the layout can't really change much because you're saying there's concrete and stuff everywhere.
Well, I'm just saying, I think for sure the host track is going to be making the layouts, but if let's just say, it has to be a little bit special and a little bit allowed, because they have to put the special concrete down on the layouts, because you can't just build a big triple out of a corner, because you're not going to be able to even jump the first jump. You're going to fly off the track because you can't clear with the amount of grip.
Wow.
So like they have to build it accordingly to what the dirt's going to allow them to do for traction wise.
Yeah.
All right. Well, let's move on from the warm up. Got to get a little more upbeat.
Well, that's a good discussion, though.
No, people are going to love it.
Because, I mean, wouldn't that be ideal to have, like, if Mar doesn't do that, though, Jason, they don't determine layout of the track at all.
No.
But
they will say some things that they want to have part of the track. Or there's some things in the rules that say that have to be part of the track or something, but I mean, at the last couple worlds we've been to, people don't really pay attention to that anyway. But so, yeah.
So how do you prevent, like, there's concern out there that they're going to get practice time on it, maybe even for weeks, and then tear it down and rebuild it or whatever they do. I don't know, but how do you monitor any of that? You can't, right? There's no.
Not really.
I mean, they can close that place down and sit there and practice for like a month, right?
The part that's unfortunate, the part that I think is wild about this whole thing is X-Ray has so much more to lose by having this race at their facility than they do to gain. Because best case scenario for them is you win and you dominate, and then everybody will say, oh, well, they'll say something about, unfair practice, or, there'll be some kind of slam against them if they dominate.
Well, it'll be like, if they win, then they're supposed to win. Like, with hello,
well, of course.
The unfair practice.
Yeah. Well, that's what people will say. The racers will say, hey, they had unfair practice. Their stuff was, out of control. They must have been cheating. And that's if they win. Now, if they lose, then it's also, for them, it's extremely embarrassing. So to me, it's like a no-win situation for them, because they have to win. And then when they do win, people are going to doubt it anyway. So I think it's kind of a mistake for them to even host the race there personally. They should have tried to, organize with a different host, I think. Would have made more sense. I mean, there's some things that I'm looking forward to visiting there, because I've never been there. But I know that if my guys, or Spencer or Ryan, and if these guys are running and they're not on the pace, I'm gonna be pissed that I'm even over there. I'm gonna be like, well, this is a waste of time. But I guess you could say that at any race. But typically, when you got top guys in the world, you're not going to go to a Worlds and be over a second a lap off the pace. So you just want a fighting chance. If you have a fighting chance, it's great.
Mm-hmm.
If you're coming through and you're getting some, maybe a Martin Bayer or a Bruno's TQing, but you're only a half second behind, or you're right there, or you're in it to win it. Sure, that's fine. But if you're just getting your doors blown off, that's like, obviously it's gonna shake up people's personalities. You're not gonna blow out Mayfield and the Testmans and then be happy about it. I can tell you that there's gonna be some hell to pay.
Jeez.
Hey, Gotti.
Yeah.
Just so you know, I did take home a dirt sample.
Oh,
there you go.
Nice. I like it.
He likes that.
Awesome. It's good stuff. See, Spencer's going to be preparing.
Already ran it through the analyzer.
Yeah, the dirt guy at the dirt store, he's like, where the heck did you find this crap?
The dirt store.
Where'd you find this crap?
Is this in my inventory? So I got this crap dirt in my store? No. I brought this from overseas. Oh, isn't that illegal? No. All right, so let's talk about the next race. Let's go to the manufacturer's cut.
All right.
Let's hear it, Spencer. You had to fly in direct from Slovakia.
Yeah, so we were flying back from Slovakia or Austria. I flew into Denver. Well, we flew into Chicago or New Jersey, and that was a cluster. Our flight got delayed a couple times, and then we finally made it back to Denver on Wednesday night, and Thursday morning was a quick turnaround. I flew from Denver to Sacramento, where I met Alex K and the associated guys. And we drove up to Chico, did the Chico practice at A-Main Hobbies at Silver Dollar Raceway. And it was a really good event. I mean, I think they matched their same amount of entries they had last year, which was nice. A lot of new faces and customers that I've never seen before at that event. And
okay, that's good.
It was cool. I think there's some things that the promotion-wise that the race can be done a little better, maybe a little better date, or maybe a little bit more promotion of the event. It's a little difficult because it was surrounded by a lot of different other races, and the track layout was awesome. Obviously, Kevin Jellick and his crew always do an amazing job with the builds and hosting a good race weekend. And the racing was awesome. I mean, we had one heat of the pro guys, so it was, it was a little smaller than it was 2 years ago for the pro heat, but it was cool at the same time because you would always race the same people. You didn't have to worry about saying, "Oh, well, I only raced him once," or
yeah, the Reedy race issues.
Yeah, so that was nice to see that it was just, simple in that format. It was definitely some rough moments on my racing on the first race day. I think I finished like half of my races. I had some issues in the pits. I had some issues on the track with stuff falling apart. And the second day of racing, I was able to keep myself in contention a little bit on the first day with at least my first race finishes that I was able to finish in contention for the overall win. And the second day was awesome. I was able to get a better night's sleep and had a good dinner the night before. And it was some pretty awesome racing. Me and Mayfield had some good battles in the truggy class and then the final buggy race. the final truggy race, I actually was gonna be in the lead, and had some traffic kind of getting to me, and I flipped upside down, and then I went another lap, and then my throttle carburetor stuck wide open, and I flew off the back green monster in the back, and was out of the race in truggy. So I wasn't able to get 3 races that would count for my points because I only finished once.
Mm-hmm.
So because it was best 3 out of the 4, 1 throw out.
So you didn't get everything to count.
Right. So the last 2 buggy races, I was actually able to win the first race on Sunday in buggy. And then the second race, the final race of the event, I started in the back, and I was able to make up some time throughout that race to catch Mayfield. And on the the last lap, the last 3 laps, I was on his tail the whole time, and he actually made a little bit of a mistake, 50-50ing on the pipes in the center section, and he flipped upside down, and I was able to pass him on the last lap because he crashed. So it was definitely a big fight in that last race. I mean, just kind of constantly just telling myself just to, keep on chugging along. I mean, I was a little faster than him lap time wise in that race. So, I mean, it wasn't like I was gaining seconds on him throughout the 15-minute run. It was like 2/10 there, 1/10 there, 1/10 lost there. I made up 8/10 there. So, I mean, it was definitely a mental game where you just had to keep on trucking along. And obviously with my pit guys being down low, telling me my information on the mic of what was going on, lap time wise, of what my pace was going to be at the end of the 15-minute run. And Brent was actually on the mic, and he was telling me if you keep up the same pace, you would actually catch Ryan with 2 laps remaining. And sure enough, it was exactly spot on. So that was really cool to be a part of just trusting the guys down below, helping out in the pits, and capturing the win to take the tiebreaker and winning the Manufacturers Cup for myself. And it was cool to have the guys back, like Alex and Brock and Nick, to also help win the whole Manufacturers race as a team.
Mm-hmm.
So, I mean, definitely a big shout out to Alex and Nick Walnut for Nick winning the open class, and then of course in the invite class you have to have the top 2 guys from your team combine points throughout the whole series.
Yeah, you guys had great performance. You're kind of, in that scenario, you have to have the people competing in each class to have a chance at it, right?
Correct.
If you're going to try to win the overall, then you gotta have it all. You got to have the Knicks running in the open class, and you got to have you in the pro, and you got to have a sportsman dude, and you got to have all the horses, right?
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, I mean, I watched that. Thomas went out there and did the race for us, but I wasn't there. But I watched the live videos going on, and yeah, I just kind of got the feeling watching that 8-scale race. Sometimes you just have a gut feeling, or I don't know what it is, and something just is telling you that it's even when Mayfield was leading that last race, I was like, something just tells me that he's not going to win this. Just something. Every once in a while, I remember being there a few years ago, and that happened with Ty. Mayfield was leading the last race, and Ty ended up getting him in that last race. And there's just sometimes to me, I have this feeling like when it's going on, like, I don't think this is quite over yet. Like something's going to surprise you here. And you reeled him in. You were faster. He told me that, and he said he did really well the first day, and he said it was like, he's like, I didn't really get overconfident, but maybe I just, kind of underestimated everybody the second day. And he's like, I wasn't quite, running as well as I needed to. And, he kind of admitted that he just wasn't, he didn't quite have it that last two races.
Yeah, it's difficult to really keep your momentum rolling when, let's say, his first day was pretty easy for him. I mean, he did have some front row starts that helped, some traffic that went his way. And this can go for anybody. It seems like if things are going too well, it's like you don't really have to worry. But I don't know. It definitely wasn't like I wasn't fast the first day. It was just, I just got back from a European trip one previous day later, and I wasn't really myself the first day. I was a little grumpy and having some issues on the track, and I don't know, it was just kind of a weird day. And the second day, obviously, we made some progress with the car, adjusted, got some better sleep, and it was, like I said, it really couldn't have gone any better for me. But it either outcome, win or lost. If I would have lost that race, like if I didn't win the tiebreaker or whatnot, I was proud of myself and my pit crew for fighting back hard and gaining some experience with pitting and with the car and just learning a little bit. And I was happy. It was definitely an icing on the cake to get the win. But it was nice working with my guys, Alex, Brent, and Richard on just kind of making some progress with the cars. And it was fun.
So your, last couple races, before we kind of move to the next one, you've been hanging out with Alex. He's been hanging out with you. You guys have been kind of wrenching, practicing, hanging out together. What's been going on with that? And maybe, I don't know if Alex is around, but I don't know if he wants to chit chat a little bit about that.
Yeah, he's here. Yeah, we've been, Alex, want to chime in? Say hello to the crowd. What's going on?
Now we're talking.
Yeah, I've been backseat listening, just mind my own business, doing some wrenching while a little bit is doing the talking. But now we're here, baby.
So tell us, it's probably been kind of nice. You've been able to be in RC mode for a couple weeks in a row. First of all, tell us how your school's going, and then kind of get into this little break you got going with Spencer.
Yeah, school's going really good. Halfway there. So summertime just started, and I really missed it. I miss going to all the races, watching all these guys go to these races, and when you don't get to do something you used to do so much of, you miss it a lot. So being out here in Arizona, hanging out with the Rivkins, it's been pretty awesome. Going to AMS, going to the Manufacturers Cup, it's been good. Not driving the best ability, I think, not yet, but I think we get better every time we're out there, so that's a good plus. And it's just fun, hanging out with friends, kicking it, and then doing the racing thing is just another plus too.
Yeah, it seems like you definitely don't lose the speed, no matter, when you were, when you're making the tour or you're not, it seems like you always have good speed. But what's it like to kind of jump in and try to race with the guys, after, being in school and stuff, and then, maybe not getting all the big race time, but you jump in there and your lap times are good, but then you got to race, 30, 45-minute mains with these guys, and how does that affect things?
It's definitely the consistency of the driving is it's hard to keep up because like anyone could do a fast lap if you have good skill and your car's pretty good, you could just muscle it around for a lap. Okay. So like to do it for 45 minutes straight, 100 laps of all driving, giving it all, it's pretty tough without doing mistakes. So you gotta give these guys credit. They do it and it looks so easy for them. And then when I try to do it, I'm good for a couple minutes, and you make a bobble, go down the path, muscle your way back up to somewhat where you were, and then have another mistake. So that's what I've been kind of focusing at. And then the AMS, I kind of did pretty good. I know I had some problems in the mains. I think I could have finished on the podium. My stuff was really good. My pit guys were doing an awesome job in the pit. But just, sometimes it's not meant to be, and that's how it was that weekend. But we learned a lot, and we're going to fix the problems we had, and then hopefully nationals next week, it's going to be good to go, and hopefully drive the full hour, full punch, and give it our all.
So, kind of interesting. I mean, in a sense, you're a little more, I don't know, I feel like you're a little more of a 10 scale racer or 10 scale background, but you get into the summer and now all of a sudden you're racing all this 8 scale. It's almost like this is your opportunity to race being in the summer, but you're having to also do 8 scale, which, I mean, it's not that you're not any good at it. I mean, you're all the races you ran, I think you've done well. And would you get 4th or 5th at the Nats last year?
Yeah. 5th place, I think it was.
Yeah. And that's an amazing, great run. But yeah, you jump into the summer, all of a sudden you're going nitro and 8 scale full speed. Is that kind of what you were wanting to do, or is that just the timing kind of worked out?
That's just mostly how the timing works out. Because, like, back home, 10 scale, like, indoor kind of dies down when it hits May. So, like, the 8 scale tracks start to get ready and all that stuff. So, like, you definitely see a shift in the focus of what RC is going into. But it's just timing, really. Because, like, when I'm done with school, like, the last couple of weeks into May, and then you get all these 8 scale races like the Manufacturers Cup and AMS and Nationals, which are, for me, those are the biggest 8 scale races I'll do. So basically, I'll run like a straight month of just 8 scale, but then probably after Nationals, I'll be just focused on 10 scale because it's a 10 scale Worlds this year.
So that means you are doing the Worlds.
Oh yeah, we're making it happen this time.
Okay. Yeah, I mean, as far as good as you've been in 10 scale over the years, and you've never actually run the Worlds yet, right? You've only run 8 scale Worlds.
Yeah, I only ran the 8 scale Worlds so far, but I'm really looking forward to. I know it's kind of going to be a little bit on the questionable side with some things, but I don't care. I'm excited for it.
Yeah. Yeah, that's kind of how I am.
Boy walking into the candy shop.
Yeah.
Yeah, Worlds. So what are you guys wrenching on right now?
We're working on our struggies. Hopefully get it done today.
Yeah, we're thinking about well, we got Hobby Action's doing a associated like a race practice specifically for like the racers after hours.
Okay.
And there's like a group of 45 people that some of them are on the associated team. So the other half is like customers or hardcore racers that are locals at Hobby Action.
Okay.
And we might go around 9 p.m. and go help out the team and check it out, see what's going on with the guys, and make a presence, help the guys with the new 4-wheel drive, answer some questions, whatever it may be.
So are you guys actually going to run at that, or is it mostly just are you guys helping?
Well, I mean, my stuff's not ready, and obviously, or I don't really have cars ready for running a Hobby Action. Obviously, Alex doesn't have his 10 scale cars with me. We would just go just to mainly just help out people.
Okay.
So that might be our agenda for later. But currently, we're finishing up our 8th scale truggies for the nationals.
So let's move on. Let's talk about both of you guys here. You both did Manufacturers Cup. Alex was doing well out there. Kind of a long trip for him, but then let's move into AMS. You guys kind of went there as a group, team, and how'd it go? I saw Spencer TQ'd the first round, which, there's only 3 rounds of qualifying. They're always tough, and you got a TQ out of it, but let's talk about the whole race in general.
Yeah, the event always out there has been ran smoothly. Those guys that put on the track, the whole crew, Bobby doing the build, and Dave Lycum always, hosting those races, putting his time and effort in and making sure everything's ran smoothly. Definitely a big shout out to him and all his crew that put in the blood, sweat, and tears to host a good event for us guys to run at. The race itself actually went pretty smoothly. Obviously, I was able to have some good success in qualifying in Nitro Buggy and Truggy. I was able to TQ the first round of Nitro Buggy and get some top podium runs, top 3 runs in Truggy throughout all of qualifying. And in the main event, I was actually had some issues with some flameouts in Nitro Buggy, which put me way behind for a top 5 initially. And then it was funny, I was actually running in the 5th spot after a couple of flameouts, and 4th place had a flameout. I was able to pass him on the clock, and then Tebow was running in 3rd. He actually had a flameout towards the end of the race, and I was actually able to get back up to 3rd. So I'm thinking, wow, I'm going to salvage a 3rd place with 3 flameouts. And then, of course, 2 laps later, I flame out, and I go back to like the 8th position. So it definitely wasn't a good weekend in the Nitro Buggy class, but it was pretty solid in Truggy. I was running essentially in 3rd the whole time, and that's where I was able to finish.
Mm-hmm.
It was a good experience. I thought my Nitro Buggy I thought I had the best car in the main. My lap tons down the board were better than everyone else's. My consistency before that flameout was really good. I thought I was going to have a shot for the win, but the flameouts got in the way, and it was all downhill from there. But we definitely learned a lot with some engine stuff and some car setup stuff that we're going to use for the nationals, and have hopefully a pretty solid nationals. Looking forward to just driving solid throughout all the qualifying and all through the mains and see where it puts me at the end.
Sounds like a good game plan.
Yeah, I mean, really, I'm looking forward to going back to Thornhill. We've had some pretty good success there. I was obviously able to win my first national title in the Nitro Buggy class out there. So I'm looking forward to putting in the work and seeing where it all straps up at the end.
What do you guys think about running at these races? I think both of you at Manufacturers Cup ran all 3, and then I can't remember if you guys both ran all 3 at AMS, but I believe you did. And Alex doesn't quite have as much pit help. Spencer has a little bit of pit help, plus you got your dad. What's it like doing 3 classes at those 2 events and keeping up with both cars and just kind of trying to be in it to win it in 3 classes?
You can answer that, Alex.
It's a 24-hour marathon. Just run one race, and then you're back to the pit. After you marshal, and then you're wrenching. You kind of panic a little bit. You see what race you're on. You're like, oh, I got all this work to do. You got to get ready for your race. Mm-hmm. It's like a cycle. You you marshal, you go back to your pit, you wrench, glue some tires, then you do the same thing over and over again. But I ran all three for AMS, and it's definitely a challenge running all three. I think my e-buggy, like, you usually choose your two favorite classes, and then you put your most effort into those two. And then the third one, you could just, get by and it's not too bad, then you're okay with it. And that's how e-buggy was for me. Like, I didn't put too much effort into it. It was mostly just into nitro classes, especially with nationals coming up. But, in the end, it still kind of worked out. I think I finished 10th in e-buggy, which isn't the greatest thing, but considering, I didn't put that much effort in, I'm okay with it. But I don't know, it's hard running 8 scale because there's a lot of wrenching to do after even just a 5-minute qualifier to make sure everything's good. So you definitely have to put a lot of hours wrenching just to race. But it's overall, it's worth it at the end. So, and I'm pretty sure Lil Buddy would probably say the same thing too.
Yeah, it's definitely not easy. I mean, obviously, having pit help is always a plus, but it's always nice to go through your own stuff to make sure everything's good too, because you don't want something happening that you didn't do, and you just don't want to blame it on anybody but yourself.
Creates an awkward situation.
So, even though people have pit help, I mean, I always double check my own work or whoever's helping me with my car, and it's not easy, that's for sure. I mean, that's why it's difficult to make it happen at these big races, because it's a constant grind and a marathon. So definitely thankful for the people who do help me and who have given the time and effort. Definitely a big part of my career of listening to people, taking advice, and not turning down any kind of help.
Okay. Makes sense. So, kind of moving, now we're starting to move forward here a little bit. We do have some questions for you guys, and I'll ask some of my own questions for Alex, but we got some for Spencer direct. So we'll just kind of flip back and forth. Let me pull them up here.
I have the first one right off the bat here. Biggest surprise and challenge of the world's warm-up race. I just want to go back to that.
I think that's the thing we've already covered.
Yeah.
I'll be right back.
Yeah, I mean,
yeah, we don't have to get it. I was just kidding around. All right, this is a question for both of you. I guess you both can answer this one. Most memorable race?
Alex, go ahead. Remember.
Mine, I gotta go.
Because I had to think about mine.
You got so many. Mine's kind of not that many.
Right.
There's the one that kind of highlights my career is winning the open 4-wheel drive class at the Reedy race, I think in 2016.
Yes.
That's like, I don't know, just after I won that race, like right after, everyone like that was on the driver's stand ran up to me, gave me a hug. Like my team manager Brent was in the race, and he knocked off my glasses and I couldn't see, like he was hugging me and stuff. Like I just remember that, and the awkward, 16-year-old giving the interview. Yeah, everything worked out good. Thanks to my sponsors, parents, and all the people that helped me. But that was a good memory. And I don't know, I always create non-racing memories when I go to these races, just hanging out with the guys or meeting new friends. Like those you kind of keep, forever. The racing ones, some of these races are kind of feel the same. It's the same. You travel the same day in, same type of qualifying, same type of names. But I don't know. I would say the Reedy race is probably my best racing memory so far. And what about you, Spencer?
I would probably have to. I mean, I can't not say my most memorable. What was the question again?
Most memorable race.
Most memorable race. So it doesn't have to be a race that I won.
No,
Not necessarily.
no. Just like Alex said, hanging out with friends and stuff.
I would have to say
One time in band.
the one time at band camp when I won. When I was actually the 2018 nationals at Hobby Action, when I won the two-wheel drive buggy class, when I was racing against, I mean, it was essentially coming down to me or Cavalieri, and just like the amount of like pressure that was just on and through that event. It was really, really special to me because when I came off that driver's stand, the first guy that I like hugged, I think it was either Jason or Brent. But then like I saw Kinwald in the corner that was watching the race, and he's like, "Dude, that was the like best race I've ever watched."
Wow.
Like, because he told me, he's like, before that race, because he knew Cav was running second. He's like kick his butt for me. And when I ended up winning the race, he like gave me knuckles, and he said he's like that was the best race I've ever seen, and then he said thank you. Like that was the second word he told me.
Oh, that's awesome.
So that was one of the most cherished races that I'll ever remember. And then of course, like, hugging my dad, seeing Jason there all happy. I mean, it was a long event. I mean, there was so much drama at that race with the watering schedule and where they had things going from Roar. So, I mean, there's a lot of other ones that I have win or loss. That was always good, but having Brian there and doing it in front of Brian and, the things that he was telling me and, told me and stuff it's pretty special to do.
That would lead right into our next question then. How's the Kinwald build going?
I have officially not started on it. I am still working on getting the fine-tuned pieces. I've had many people that have helped me get some of the very difficult parts, like the D2 motor, some Trinity motor plate, transmission block. There's been a great crowd, actually. The vintage guys on the page, old school RC. It's been very helpful with the people giving me the information. The guy Cedric from the UK helping me with the build, because he actually has the full replica car. So wow. It's going to be a long project. It's definitely not going to be quick by any stretch, but I got some pieces, got a car, and we're going to make it look cool. I'm excited for it.
Yeah, that's awesome, man. Yeah, I saw Ernie sent you the motor. He posted that on Facebook.
Yeah, I mean, I actually have a couple. I have the one with his face on it, with Kinwald's face, and then I have one that the DT motor that he actually ran wasn't the one with his face on it. It was the one that just said D2 Dirtinator.
Right.
So, yeah, one of the biggest stories that I remember, this was like 5 years ago. Brian told me, because I didn't know Brian didn't have any of his Worlds cars or memorabilia from his Worlds wins. When he told me that car, his first Worlds, it was in the garage of, I think either it was in Marprovitas or it was Gil Losi's garage, and it caught on fire.
Oh, Losi's, yep.
And everything. Yeah, so he always told me that he never had it, and he always wanted to find the pieces and build it, but he never got around to it. And it was just a thought that that came up of kind of honoring the build for him. So it's going to be a long shot, trying to make it as close as possible, but it's going to be worth every penny in time.
Now, you mentioned after that race, Kinwald, gave you knuckles and said, "Hey, great race. That was the best race you ever." Is there any other cool moments that a cool story or whatever do you have of Brian Kinwald that you can share?
Countless memories, countless. I mean, I remember when I won the nationals at Thornhill. He messaged me right away. He sent his emojis and dude, good job. I can't believe it. You must be so happy. And call me at dinner. And I would call him after dinner and we would talk for 20 or 30 minutes. And he's like, all right, well, you better be at Hobby Action on Wednesday. See you there. And then one of the most coolest ones was when I did win in Japan at the Worlds. I called him after dinner. It was I didn't know what time it was, but I think it was 3:30 in the morning in Arizona. And he was up, he was working on analyzing some screws. And dude, he was so happy for me. He's like, dude, that's so awesome. When I won my first World, we did this. What did you guys do? He tell me all the stories when he won. He's like,
oh wow. So
that was really cool to see. And then when I got back from Japan, we had a big gathering at SRS in Scottsdale, SRS, the indoor SRS, and they had a big kind of gathering for me with a birthday cake. And actually, Tommy Hines and his family did the cake and stuff for me, so that was pretty cool. But Kinwald was there, and we did a picture together. And I think I posted it when he actually passed away, and that was one of the few pictures that I have with Brian. So it was cool for him to be a part of that stuff. But I mean, there's all the races that I've had success at, or any race that I've been to before him being gone. He's always messaged me at every race that I've been to, a text or a call. So
yeah, he's always been really good about staying in touch with you with your racing. It seemed like it was important, definitely important to him.
Yeah, I mean, there was a time and point when I would always call him for setup help when I was a little younger. Probably when I was just starting to travel a little bit more for racing, and I would call him on the regular. But I think when Mesa wasn't on Associated more, I was kind of learning my own, figuring out, what did me and what was right for me. But I would always call Brian and ask him, some setup advice for whatever track I was at. So it became more of a regular basis. And then there was a point in time where I didn't call him as much because I was kind of wanting to figure things out more on my own. But Brian would still always text me and call me of, how's it going? How's the tires? What tires you guys are running? Or did you try my sauce that I made you? Stuff like that. So another, I would say this is probably top 3 memory of him. When we were at the Nationals at Mimi's track in 2017, we were using, the Associated guys were using the Kinwald red sauce. Kinwald made me 6 bottles, but I handed some out to our teammates like Ryan, Dustin, and Brent, and Alex or Tommy. And we actually ran out, and no one knew his recipe. And I've asked him many times for his sauce recipes at local tracks, and he always told me, he's like, one day one day I'll tell you. This is, years prior to that particular race event. And we ended up running out, and I called him. I ran outside. I called him. I'm like, dude, I really ran out of sauce. He's like, what? I gave you 6 bottles. He's like, yeah, I know, but I gave it to my buddies. He's like, so he ended up giving me his sauce recipe. Oh. And at that race, I felt like I was so special because I'm like, Brent, we got to go to Walmart. He's like, why? I'm like, don't worry about why. We're going to Walmart. So we go to Walmart. I'm like, Brent, stay in the car. I'll be back. So I get the recipe and stuff, and then I get out to the car and I pull all the stickers off the bottles and stuff, so no one knew what it was. And then gave me the formula for the individual stuff that we're adding in the can, and we made a bunch of sauce. It was like the best thing ever.
Wow.
Yeah, I mean, he always, for me, he seemed like he was always part of my racing. He always kept in tune of where I was at or what I was doing.
Mm.
It was special for sure. I mean, it definitely, when he did pass, I felt a little, everyone was obviously very upset, but I thought for sure he would have mentioned something beforehand, but I guess maybe more like that he was sick in the hospital, because I would have been there instantly to see him, you know?
Yeah, that was tough.
Yeah. Well, it was kind of, I regret a little bit of something is that it was like a month before that happened. After he got the surgery done on his back, after he had an accident at Hobby Action in the parking lot or whatever, he told me to come over, and he said he wanted to see me. He's just like, hey man, I want to see you, come over. And I wasn't able to make it over to his house. And I really wish I would have, I mean, that would have probably been the last time I would have seen him. But there's so many memories I have of him and pictures, and I have a lot of bodies he's given me and signatures, so it'll always be in the back of my mind.
Yeah. Alex K, any memories of Ken Wald? A favorite cool story? Anything?
Well, I know a couple of years ago there used to be the Vintage Nationals. I think you were there one of the years too. But Brian Kinwell built me a special RC10.
Oh,
and
yes.
I raced it that weekend because he couldn't make it that year. I think he went the year before, but he couldn't make it that year. And Jason was there with me, and just having him make me a car was pretty epic. Like some of the stuff he did, like I would never thought of doing, or just how cool it was. You know, he would machine like the shock parts, make it look all special, and you can tell it was a Brian Kinwell car by just looking at it.
Yeah.
And like being able to race it, and then I signed it, and then it got shipped back to him. I don't know what happened to it, but just the whole plan of him building me a car to race, and then eventually winning that race, it was pretty, like, that'll always stay with me. And another one was like after I think it was the first Desert Classic they had at Hobby Action. I had to stay a couple days after because my flight got canceled due to some bad weather up in the Northeast. And he was at the track the day I went to go practice, and, you know, we sat down and talked, and, you know, it was just nice just hearing what he had to say. Like, he said I had some good potential, and that he drove my car, and he said that it was a pretty good setup, and he gave me some pointers on how to make it better. And, you know, moments like that, I always remember of him, and I really appreciate what he has done. Yeah. Not just to me, but for, like, everybody.
Mm-hmm.
All right. So what else we got for questions?
Spencer Rivkin, a question for you, sir. Why are you choosing to run the XR8 SCT speed control rather than the XR8 in your e-buggy? Is it because of weight saving or settings?
It would be because of the weight.
There you go. And Jason, right after that question, right?
Okay.
He says, "Thanks, sir."
Oh.
Yeah. That's an inside joke between me and Jason. All right, this is a question for both of you here. What's your favorite class to race?
Two-wheel drive modified buggy.
Two-wheel drive modified buggy.
I like that answer too. Us old school guys like hearing two-wheel drive buggy modified.
It's true.
That's right. When are the underdrive gears coming back in stock?
2 weeks, baby.
2 weeks. That's the standard answer.
I think they said sometime in July.
So that's about 2 weeks
away. That's some answer. Yeah.
Yeah, it's funny. We started running them a month or two ago, and they sold out pretty quickly. Like I did a live video really highlighting how important the gears were that we were running, and a lot of people bought them.
Mm-hmm.
Are either one of you guys getting the new Element Enduro?
All right, I back ordered the one already.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm actually gonna get one. I'm actually gonna do a video on it.
Okay, good.
So I'm excited to get familiarized with that industry and be a little bit more involved with, a little bit more well-rounded in that stuff.
So we got Chris Trudeau. Any class you haven't raced or tried that you want to? Which this could lead into the where you just left off, but that's his first question.
Well, I would definitely like to race and try the monster truck stuff, but I might get frustrated because it looks pretty difficult. I don't want to come in there and put a whip can on the old J-Row.
I know.
You really don't want to see when J-Row puts the whoop can on you.
Yeah,
that's what you're
that's
scared
what I'm
about.
more scared about.
It's definitely different because it's not as cut and dry as the other racing that we do, because
like watching the video, it just like the trucks have no suspension. It looks so rigid to drive. Like, man, if those people like knew what we drove, which I'm sure they do, I feel like they would just have a so much better time doing what we do.
Yeah, it's hard to say. I mean, I've obviously raced them all, and the thing that's difficult about it is if I was to race you, or the thing that's different and difficult is if I was to race you on an off-road race that's 5 minutes and you crashed on the first lap, and you could spend the rest of the race, trying to catch me, and I could have another mistake or something. But in this, if you make a mistake, you are going to lose. It doesn't matter who you are. And then you're out. You can't come back, like, for the most part. So it's like it's so unique from that standpoint that it's just everything's on the line for the 7 seconds. And sure, there's people that have advantages over others, but if that one little mistake is in there, you can also lose to anybody.
Right.
That's what's really kind of different about it. It was like I was saying before, it's like having a truggy race but only last 3 turns. It's like that's what's kind of difficult or different about it. Plus the trucks it's not like you're driving a perfectly dialed suspension of a off-road buggy. They bounce, and they get out of shape, and so you're like kind of at that disposal a little bit. It just makes it definitely very
It
weird.
seems more frustrating. Like, I don't know. It seems like if you were a new beginner, I don't know, maybe the perspective is more waging on what we do because we're so used to it. But just seeing the trucks not absorb any of like the little small jumps and like the imperfection of the landing that the trucks, the energy that it takes when it lands, and it just bounces a little wrong, and then you're like hitting a little wall, and then you flip over. Like, I feel like people will get so much more frustrated because it doesn't look easy at all.
Yeah, that's what it is like that. It's hard to explain. I think it's just kind of its own thing, and I think everybody would have fun trying it. And seeing what you could do. There's no question that your good laps would be amazing. Like, because you guys have the skill, you have the talent, it would be your good laps would be amazing. But the question is, it comes down to, could you keep it in repetition? Would the little bobbles that the truck has and the other things that happen with it, would that upset the race? Would it change the order? And I think there would be times. I mean, just from my own experience, there's times when it does, and there's times when it doesn't.
Right.
And I've already noticed that there's certain tracks that you drive that they're confusing. That's the one thing. And you can stand anywhere. That's the other thing that's weird about it. Hmm. You don't have to stand like on a driver's stand. Like you can stand anywhere you want. So now that's not really an adjustment you can make in off-road racing. You stand on the driver's stand. Do I stand in the middle or do I stand left or right? That's really it. On this, it's like, do I want to see it coming at me? Do I want to go see it going away from me? Do I want to see it from the side? That's all kind of part of it too. It's really weird from that standpoint.
Yeah, that is. I didn't really think about that.
Yeah, it's like the event I was just at. I was like, well, I just started driving from the side, like more like an off-road style, and that's kind of what I stuck with. But I don't think that was definitely the best. But that's just kind of what I stuck with. There's some people that'll stand in the middle and they'll turn while they're driving with the vehicle.
Yeah. Wow. Yeah, I was going to say you should be one of those guys that you go out of the start line and you run with the truck and then you run back with the truck.
Yeah. I've seen people, like, as they're going towards the finish line, they kind of go after the vehicle a little bit, like, I got this, like they're going that direction. I definitely don't do that because just from the off-road background, you feel like once you're in one position, like this is where I'm at,
Yeah.
Yeah. So that is, there's the lane choice, who has which lane. Some lanes are a little better than others. Sometimes you have to watch, it's like watching the track conditions and off-road, where to drive and this and that. And that is like some lanes are better than others. So I think you guys would enjoy the change up a little bit and just kind of, because you almost kind of start from scratch in a way. You can drive the vehicle, but all the other little nuances that you kind of take that you don't really think about anymore in off-road, you'd be like, man, I never really thought about this before. Like now this is a decision I got to make. So yeah, anyway. He was just saying, do pro guys ever just go out and bash their cars, or is it life of racing, practice, and testing? And if and when you are bashing, do people try to race you?
Yes. Yes. We don't do it often, but there's been some of the funnest, coolest memories I have going to like hobby action. I would plan it out if I plan it with Mayfield, and maybe if it doesn't have to be at hobby action, it could be anywhere. If the track wasn't right or whatever, we're like, all right, let's do a hot lap challenge, right? And then we go down the straightaway, and if you make your first mistake, and it's like, all right, just kidding, we would try something else. And then we would see like, oh, if there's short course trucks on the track, and then we'd be like, all right, first person to just completely take out the short course truck win. And we're like literally trying to take out these people. And the funny part is these people don't even know who we are. They just think we're just people that do it like they're doing it, but with better cars.
Mm-hmm.
So we're going down the straightaway, aiming for these short course trucks with our 4-ride buggies. Mayfield one time, he hit this guy so hard, the guy was like, look at him like, who was that? And Matt was like, yeah, that was me. Sorry, I couldn't see.
So yeah, that would be counting on doing some bashing and tell us. The one I think about is when you were sending me photos from Myrtle Beach and you and Jackson, you were driving your car from the top of the hotel.
Oh man, that was legendary. So yeah, my Myrtle Beach. Well, I was there for 2 weeks. I was there for the Fall Brawl Nitro race, along with the week after was the finals at Beach RC. And during our stay, after the Fall Brawl got canceled with the rain, the following day on like Monday, because we were staying at the hotel throughout the whole week, I charged up my e-buggy because Jackson and I were like, oh, we should drive our e-buggy from the actual car and just drive it in front of the car. So we did that, right? So we're driving in the small little town of Myrtle Beach, fully charged battery with my e-buggy. I'm in the passenger seat. Paul Wynn's driving. Jackson Brunson's in the back videotaping. And we're just driving up and down the street, turning left and right, driving on the sidewalk. People are like, what the heck is that? Like, we could have our windows down. And I had my radio like down underneath like the window so you can't see. So we're like yelling at the window like, man, what is that? Who's driving that too? So it's like you have no idea what's going on. And then we would charge it up again, and Jackson says, dude, let's drive it from the balcony. And Jackson's staying on the 18th floor.
Oh man.
And I was like, all right, I'll drive this thing. Jackson, go downstairs to ground level. And I'm driving this thing from 18 stories high. And I'm circling around like the block. Like I'm going around this huge building that I was able to see from being so high up. It was insane. It was going to be some of the coolest things.
Didn't she say that the car felt really slow too from that height?
Yeah, it was very slow.
But I'm sure.
I mean, driving from the car when we were following it, I mean, we were going 45, 50 miles an hour one time when we were following the car.
But then when you're 18 stories up, you're like, gosh, this thing is slow.
Yeah, well, yeah. I mean, you can tell, like, when we were driving on the street, it was under geared because we were running at constant speed.
Yeah.
But it was really big when we were driving it. I was driving it from that high up. One of the security guards came out and was asking Jackson, because Jackson was videotaping it, and he's like, who's driving that? And Jackson was like, oh, I have no idea. I just came out here. I'm taking video of it. And like Jackson texted me. He's like, dude, pull it in. This guy's going to call the cops. So I pull it into Jackson. Jackson ran up to the room.
That's awesome.
We kind of covered this a little bit, but Chili Duncan was asking, of all these other segments, we just talked about the monster trucks. There's dirt oval, drag racing, scale trucks. This is, I guess, is for both of you guys. He's asking first why you think there's some increased popularity in all these other segments, and then if you could compete in one of them, what's the first one you'd want to try to compete in?
You can answer that. I'll go after you.
Well, to answer the first part, why it's growing like the other parts of RC, I think it's just because it might be a little bit easier to get into. Because like racing, you gotta get the car, and if you get it ready to run, that's cool. But like, it's kind of like you go out there on the track and you have to learn how to drive in a tight space and learn how to jump. Or like rock crawling, you can go anywhere, right? You don't have to go to a track necessarily. You can go in your backyard. You go to the track, that's a special rock crawling course. And you just hammer away. If you flip over, it's no big deal. Like, you know what I mean? I'm not saying it takes less talent or anything, but it's just a different vibe, I would guess. And that it might look more like, I don't know, just might look more enjoyable to somebody new getting into RC than if he's like, for racing, you see all these people, they put in a lot of effort, they go to the track, their cars are always clean. So I don't know. I think that could do with something. And then racing, I think, is a little more expensive, maybe. I'm not sure. I haven't really looked into price differences. But,
yeah, I'd say
it's not a bad thing. It's not a bad thing that other parts of RC is growing. It just, as long as people are still into RC in general, that's a good thing, And then you could always go to a different type of it. You could go from rock crawling to racing, or you could, if you want to take a break from racing, you could always go to like either monster trucking or rock crawling. You never know. And I guess if I had to choose a different category, I think rock crawling would be kind of cool to get into. I know my home track, RC Madness, they have like a pretty baller course in the back of the turf track. And like last time I was there, I ran like an A-scale trophy race. And then I just see like hundreds of people. I think there was 200 people there doing a rock crawling course. And that's just pretty cool to see. Like, it's definitely a different group of people. Like, when you look at the racers, they kind of have race t-shirts and, they have gloves for when they put like a wrench on their tires and all that stuff. While rock crawlers, just a different variety of people.
Different kind of nerds.
Yeah, I guess, if you want to call them nerds. But, yeah, I don't know. I think rock crawling would be what I would choose. And a little buddy, what would you choose?
What's the question, Jason?
The question was, why do you think that some of these other segments are building in popularity? And if you were going to try any of them, which one would you want to try?
I think some of the things that are building in other industries, it's getting easier for people in the crawler industry. I'm just being specifically for the crawler industry. It seems that the vehicles are getting so much easier for someone to buy, and it looks so like the detail and the cosmetic looks of the cars people are very in tune with. And it seemed like that the older school guys are enjoying that more because of their past history of life experiences with having their own real Jeep or pre-runner or 4Runner, whatever it may be. It seems like the millennial kind of people, they're doing it with their parents. You know what I mean? It seems like, because what's the year that you would be considered a millennial?
Didn't we talk about this before, Gotti? I think we had to look it up.
Yeah, and I was like really shocked.
But yeah. I just think that the detailed of those scalar stuff, that people are so into that stuff, and there's a little bit more like hobby involved, like painting. You can paint some stuff on the car, get some different hop-ups for the body, make it look more real life. That seems to be something that people are very into. But I mean, talking with you, Jason, of just seeing what the industry has been doing in general, it seems like RC as a whole, whether that's being monster truck or RC crawler, whatever it may be, it seems like it's doing okay.
Mm-hmm.
And I think right now that the crawler and monster truck stuff has been pretty popular because of just how much easier and not maybe so much intimidation for the consumer to get in and get involved.
Yeah, I think that's totally fair. I think you guys are both on the money.
But I mean, I would definitely be totally down to try the scalar stuff. I mean, I want to build one and make it look to how I would, want my real truck to be, or some sort of something like that. And I'm super excited for what Team Associate has done. I mean, have an element being introduced to the industry, and our guys in the shop with Brad Geck and the guys that are been really high in tune with that stuff with Aaron Lane and it's really awesome to see the company that we run for. Alex and I have kind of want to be more well-rounded in the industry, and it's pretty cool to be a part of something, and maybe we can learn something down the road of doing some other kind of cool activities, and yeah, it's cool to see. I'm happy. I'm looking forward to playing around with that stuff, and I'm looking forward to seeing what the future has for Elements and Associated, because I know they have some pretty cool things in the works, and this is they definitely have some cool things down the road.
Okay, let me find. Well, we're kind of getting into the other question I had for you guys on my page. I will ask Alex, out of everything you've seen and raced out there, what race do you think do you really want to win? What, and it's easy to say, oh, the Worlds, da 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 da, but can you get more specific about the race and which scale and all that kind of stuff? What do you think is just the one that really is the one everybody wants to win?
I would say re-race for 10 scale off-road. Because if you win, you get your name on that invitational trophy. So, like, even if, say, you're not in the RC anymore and, like, you go back to OCRC or whoever keeps the trophy, whatever happens to the race in the future, you see your name up there. I think that would be pretty baller to have. But I don't know, like, everyone says the world, because World Championship is probably the highest thing you can achieve, right? But I think if you do three things, if you could win a national title, a World Championship, and win the Reedy race, I feel like that'd be something pretty cool, and that would be like you accomplished something very big in the RC community. Because I know, like, Fernando Alonso, he's trying to do the 3-win thing with IndyCar, Formula One, and then Le Mans. I think that's, like, for RC, it's kind of the same thing with Reedy race, World Championship, National Championship. So I think, like, and anyone could do it. Like, each country has their own type of national championship, and then you have the World Championship, and then if you get entered into the Reedy race, you can participate in that too. So I think, like, if I had to choose, I would try to win those three. I know that's, like, big task, but, like, why not, right?
Yeah.
Big. I don't know. Spencer's won a World Championship already. Like, what do you think? What do you think for him?
I would like, as a personal achievement, would be to win every national title in every class. Not win all of them in the same year. Like, I'm just saying over a period of time. Like, you win your 8-skill one, win a 2-wheel drive buggy, win a 4-wheel drive buggy, win an 8-skill truggy, 8-skill buggy. Like, all the classes that you would race at the nationals, I think would be a pretty big accomplishment. Along with that's one of my big ones that I always have always thought of.
Has anyone ever done that, you think?
But and then, of course, winning the same winning the biggest one. I think, now that I think about it now, is winning a gas World Championship and a 10-skill one. Whether it be in the same year, or the same, doesn't have to be in order, like back-to-back years, but like just in general.
Yeah.
I actually think that, to say like what Alex was kind of saying is, I don't think anybody has done that. I think the closest people I think that are to winning all the off-road ones is probably, I would say, Mayfield and Tessman. As far as I know, Mayfield has won everything but a 2-wheel buggy Roar national title in off-road. Roar Nationals. So he's won 4-wheel, stadium truck, short course, 4x4 short course, 8-scale e-buggy, and 8-scale e-truggy. So he's won seven different off-road Roar National titles, but he hasn't won 2-wheel mod buggy.
Come on.
And that's the one Spencer has won. So Spencer's won that one. But that's the only one you've won, right? No, on the 10-scale side.
Yeah, in the modified class, yeah.
Yeah,
well, actually, you know what's funny is my 3 I've actually won an e-truggy national title championship.
Yeah. I was just thinking of in general. I was just thinking in general of 10-scale off-road.
Yeah, in 10-scale, that's the only one I have.
And Cavallari, he's up there, but the real bizarre one he has is the touring car. He's won the Roar Touring Car Nationals, which that's a real kind of bizarre. He's won a lot he's won all of them in 10-scale. He's won the touring car one. He's won the 8-scale nitro buggy, and I can't remember if he's won truggy.
He doesn't have an e-buggy or e-truggy.
How about a nitro truggy? I don't know if I remember him winning nitro truggy.
Nope.
Yeah, because he hasn't. Because between Tesswin and Mayfield, they've won almost all of them.
Yep.
So Cavallari needs a nitro truggy. So Cavallari needs a nitro truggy, an e-truggy, and a e-buggy. Yeah.
I mean, there can be a lot of talk. I mean, it is
honestly, but Cavallari also hasn't won 4x4 short course. So really, Mayfield's. I mean that's not a big class, but hey, there was a time where everybody, there was a couple times everybody ran it.
Right. He needs to bring it back. Well, let's also be a little realistic, because this is the same talk that you have when you talk about the Joe Montanas, the Tom Brady's, the Michael Jordans, the Steph Curry's, like LeBron James. Back then, I mean, don't get me wrong, they're all still winning now, but a majority of the national titles from the 3 or 5 people that are for sure veterans, it seemed like those guys back then, that's all those guys won, because it seemed like they were racing each other. I think that now that the talent pool is much bigger than it was.
Shots fired.
Back then.
Shots fired.
I'm not even including myself. I'm just saying with Dakota Fenn, Ty Tessman. I mean, you have Joe Bornhorst. You have these people, Alex K. Alex is giving me the look. No. I mean, it seemed like when Ryan, and Jared were racing each other, they won a lot of national championships. Just the 3 of them. That's all, those guys won them all with a long period of time.
Mm-hmm.
So there is a little bit. It is a little different now than it was. I think. I'm not saying it's easier now or harder now. I'm just putting it out there.
I would agree. It's way harder now. That's what you're saying, right?
I'm just saying it seemed like everybody talked about, Ryan, and Jared were the only ones that won back then. Those 3 were the only ones.
Well, how about this? It wasn't that long ago that Ty won all 3 at the 10-scale nationals, and he won, I believe, both at the fuel nationals. So he held all 5, right, at the same time.
You are right, and I'm not saying, and he's a good racer for that.
Yeah,
but I'm just saying, over a long period of time, they've had the opportunity.
Oh yeah,
probably racing only each other to add up their count and check mark the list in each category.
Mm-hmm.
So I just thought I'd put that out.
So the question is, if we go back to this, winning all these races, and Mayfield really only has this one two-wheel mod buggy to win. He has to win this class at some point.
It's amazing he doesn't have that.
Yeah, is it going to happen? Do you guys think he's going to win it?
Well, of course I do.
Come on, you got to be.
Better not be
him
racing me about it. Hopefully, hopefully I already wrap a different class up and I somehow break or something.
You're watching.
You need a break then. Huh?
No, I mean it's the same thing when he didn't win a world. It's like, is he ever going to win a world? Is this going to happen? This, and then he did it. And he won both.
Mm-hmm. Oh man, I don't know. To me, that Ty holding those 5 in 1 year, that's freaking pretty impressive.
Didn't Dakota have 7 in 1 year though, because of the E stuff too?
I
Isn't
don't.
that 2013 or something?
I don't remember that.
Yeah, I don't remember.
If you saw my dog right now, it would be going viral.
I think.
Photo here.
I think Dakota has won a lot, but I guess so if he won all 3 of say he won all 3 of the ENATs, so he had 3 there. Did he have
an extra truggy?
Okay,
he
so that's
4-wheel buggy, 2-wheel buggy, 4-wheel.
But not all in the same year.
No, that was all in the same year.
Yeah, it was 7, I think, in 1 year.
Yeah, he run E-buggy, E-truggy, 4-wheel short course, nitro truggy, 2-wheel buggy, 4-wheel buggy,
Stadium truck, I believe.
Maybe stadium truck.
What
That
the
was
hell
year
was that? So you think that?
That year.
So that year he won 2-wheel. So he won 2-wheel there and 4-wheel. No, he won 2-wheel and stadium truck there. So he had 2 there, 3 at the E Nationals, and then he had 1 fuel, I guess, won 1 of the fuel races.
He won Truggy that year.
That's
Because that was Stonehill, I think.
That could be right. Yeah, could be right. That's a lot. I mean, that's
Paychecks, baby. Paycheck.
yeah. Hasn't been near as easy, but he actually has been coming on pretty hard again lately. He's kind of back to being one of the favorites.
It's a lot of work.
I don't know. If that's true, that's an impressive run too. He's got all these stock nationals. Like if you talk to his people that are close to him, or his mom or his parents are like, oh, he's got 22 Ruona. I'm just like, come on. These are I'm like, these, 10 of them are stock. That doesn't count. The other ones, by all means, those are awesome. And maybe, but yeah. You can't count 10 stock national titles.
Yeah, I have 2. I don't count them.
Yeah.
Nice.
Nice.
I'm glad you don't.
It's like Tom Brady saying, "Well, I won 6 Super Bowls, and then I also won. That high school championship. So that's 7." All right. So the other question on my page was. Okay, I don't know. I didn't make this up. It says, with me as a mentor, do other aspects of RC interest you, like design or product development? We understand your job is to race, but recognizing the importance of people like Jason and BK, have those people given you different perspective on tinkering, designing, just being a tester and a driver versus being just a tester and a driver? So we'll start with Spencer, because Alex is actually in school for engineering, so he is pretty clearly doing that.
So the question was asked, what again?
It's basically that, is anybody in RC that you spent time with motivated you to want to get into any other aspects of it, like designing or being, in product development somehow, the design side of RC versus they're just saying, hey, versus just being a driver and a tester, are you interested in doing other things?
Yeah, one of the biggest ambassadors in the hobby that's always been a mentor for me. I've always looked up to you, Jason, with a lot of things, and you've inspired me a lot with looking at different kind of looking at stuff differently and with a different perspective.
Mm-hmm.
And it's always nice to hear what you have to say about the industry and stuff, because you've been involved with it so long. And if I was able to be a part of it in a different category, whether that's being some sort of ambassador in my own way, whether that's being involved with something else other than racing, that's definitely something that I see from people like you, and just being diversified with just a lot of other areas, and getting some knowledge and being prepared for whatever it may be. That's something that I definitely want to take up on. I've been kind of getting slowly involved with doing some more media stuff on my behalf with some YouTube stuff, and that we've actually talked on a couple of times. But doing some media stuff has been really kind of a cool hobby that I've been kind of learning about, and I think that's something that the RC has been kind of missing a little bit for just the individual drivers. I think that's something that I want to improve on my behalf, and just to kind of show what it's like to be a racer and what we get to deal with on a regular basis at the events. For people that aren't able to afford to go to the races or were unable to make the event, and I think that's something that stuff inspires me to give back to others and kind of show them the help that was given to me and what I was able to achieve with the help that I've gotten and I'm still getting. It'd be definitely a big honor to do that and give it back to someone or to many more kids like me when I was growing up.
Mm-hmm. Hey, that's a good answer. What else we got, Alex? You can talk about your side of it. You're a little deeper in that side of it right now with the engineering. What's your plan there? You can, being in that.
Well, definitely the thing is, I think when I first started high school, I want to be an electrical engineer.
Okay.
But during high school, I started traveling a lot, and I got to talk to the engineers that associate a lot more and stuff like that. And it kind of shifted, I wanted to be an electrical engineer, but then throughout high school, it shifted more to being just a mechanical engineer. And I think that has to do with a lot of people, like the guys that associate, like Dino Dan was a pretty big influence, Cody Newman, and even Jason Ruona, he was a pretty big influence too, because like those guys get to design their own things that they see in their head, and then they get to make it, and then to actually like have that design that they thought about like made and people buying it. I think that was really cool, and that kind of made me become or trying to become a mechanical engineer. And so I don't know. I think it's cool being able to design your own stuff, get it manufactured, get it made, and to see people using it. I think that's pretty special. So I guess that kind of determined my career path. And then gotta give a shout out to those guys. They helped me make my decision, and I'm definitely behind it. I haven't had any regrets yet. So thank you to you guys. But I don't know what I'm gonna do after school. Hopefully find a. I would like to do racing for a couple of years. I don't know. I always try my best, but I think maybe after school, if I give it my all for like a full year, I might be able to do something with it. But if not, I wouldn't mind, maybe if it's possible, work as associate for a couple of years, be an engineer for those guys, or, do something in that regard, I guess.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's good.
Not bad, right?
Yeah, it's a good plan. You guys are pretty amazing.
Oh, I appreciate that.
Not all these young kids are bad. We got some good ones over there.
Sadly, we're not that young anymore.
I know.
We're getting old.
No, I've hung around with you guys. You're definitely young.
Jason's ready for bed by 8.
So am I.
Yeah. We'll be watching a movie at 7:59. Wilbur's right passed out. Gotta go back to bed.
With his
Old
puppy.
guy.
With his puppy.
Yeah.
Oh.
No, he's probably passed out on his own a little bit. Cute.
Have you guys seen Mayfield's latest toy?
No.
I think I saw a video on Snapchat. He has a Jeep or a Hummer with like the
RC.
wheels.
RC. Gotta say it's RC. Yeah, he got a Traxa scale truck and put those tracks on it, so it's got tracks all the way around, and he tied it to Kaysen's baby walker, and he was giving him a ride. Did you see that?
Yeah.
That's pretty baller.
Yeah. And Kaysen's like walking, like his feet are touching the ground and like kind of keeping up with the truck pulling him. Pretty cool. So he's getting that practice in, boys. Mayfield's getting that wheel time.
Yeah, he missed all that wheel time at AMS.
Yeah, they go by that scaler, catch back up with you guys.
Yup.
All right. Well, anything else you guys want to bring up, and maybe give a shout out to your big sponsors and your supporters and all that good stuff. And
Little buddy, you can go first. You got the longest list.
that's right. Hey,
Well,
I'm going to go ahead and take while Spencer's reading the sponsors, I'm going to go take a break.
Hold on, let me find my shirt real quick.
Okay.
No, I'm kidding. No, of course, I'd like to thank you guys for having us on. You, Jason, Gotti, you guys are the man. I can't even explain. You guys are awesome. I mean, I can't tell you how many times I've listened to the podcast, multiple times on different segments, and it's always a pleasure to be on. But of course, I'd like to thank Team Associated, Hobby Wing, JConcepts, MX, Protect, A-Main Hobbies, Salvox, Fataba. A lot of those, all those sponsors have really made a big impact in my career, along with a lot of the mentors that I've had over the years with you, Jason, Mayfield, Brian, Brent, my dad, and just hanging around you guys have really changed my life. And it's been an awesome roller coaster ride, and I'm looking forward for the many more times that we have at the races. So thank you so much.
Yeah, and I'd like to thank all my sponsors too. Team Associated, Reedy, JConcepts. OS Engines, VP Power, Master Fuel, Sandwall, Factory Team, Stiga One Racing, Makita, and Kicker. You guys give me the equipment to dominate, or at least let me do the best I can do each weekend I race. And then, the guys like Spencer said, Brent Belke, Richard Saxton, Jason Ruona, Thomas Tran, Paul Wynn, you guys are always at the races supporting us, not just, for the race part, but being our friend and making sure we're always in the right mindset to do the best we can. I don't think people that are like on the internet that see the race posts get to like see that part of racing, but you guys are pretty big when it comes to our racing, not just racing, but being our friends. And then, everyone that supports me, otherwise than my sponsors, like my family back home all the way up in Connecticut, you guys are the best. And I really appreciate what you do
Oh, what's that
for me? Shout out to that was Ronnie Rivkin with his siren. It's dinner time, I guess. But I'll wrap it up. And thanks to all my fans and everyone that supports me. Truly appreciate it.
Yeah.
All right. Perfect. Good job, guys.
We nailed it.
Thanks, guys. I appreciate you having us.
Yeah,
All right.
appreciate you
We'll
guys
talk to
being
you
on,
later.
and look forward to having you on again for sure. And definitely
Definitely.
before the Worlds, that's for sure. We'll have you on. So
Oh, perfect.
before the Worlds and after.
Yep, let's do it.
No problem. And best of luck at the Nationals next week to both of you.
Thanks.
Kick some ass.
Appreciate it.
Kick some ass.
Let's do it.
All right, guys. Thanks a lot.
See
Bye-bye.
ya.
Alex K. and Spencer Rivkin joining us on episode 196.
196.
That was awesome stuff, man. That was good.
Yeah, it was a lot of good little rambling. I think people are going to have fun with that one. While they're wrenching and just listen to the guys ramble, be good.
Yeah. All right. 196 in the books, Jason.
We are closing in fast.
Closing in. All right, so you're heading out to the Nationals. When are you leaving?
Tuesday.
All right.
Paul and Thomas are leaving on Monday. They're driving. And I'm going to spend, one extra day here at the shop.
Mm-hmm.
And then I'm going to fly over there to Austin and get a rental car and join the guys when they're setting up.
All right. Well, give them hell, bro.
Thanks, Gotti, and appreciate everybody listening. Thanks for sticking with us through 196, and we're continuing that road to 200. See ya!